from the station that's on your side. This is Channel 7 News Daybreak.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for waking up with us this morning. We hope your morning is off to a good start. I'm Alicia Dover with meteorologist Melinda Mayo this morning.
Chris and Allison over in Hot Springs this morning, where Lake Hamilton is visiting Hot Springs High School. So we'll join them live at 5:30 for all that spirit. I think a lot of people will be ready to get out to Friday night football games tonight after being kind of stuck inside last night.
Yeah, we've all been kind of cooped up this week. So I know a lot of people will be glad to get out and have some fresh air without a lot of rain.
You bet. Now, there is still some rain in southeast Arkansas, and I'll show you that and tell you when it leaves in just a minute.
All right, but first we want to get right to what's happening now in your news on Daybreak. A proposal to widen part of Canis Road is rejected by the Little Rock Planning Commission, but now heads to the city board. Why a developer proposed the plan despite residents' complaints. Plus, the new little pink pill is being marketed as the female Viagra, what a doctor says about the claims and how it really works. And Hillary Clinton stops by the Jimmy Kimmel Show for the first time. What she says about the possibility of a future in the White House with her husband.
And thankful no serious weather damage last night other than power outages mainly, especially Jacksonville was hit hard with some power outages. And one of the football games, McClellan had to be called off, and they'll continue that tonight. The rainfall this morning is mainly across, I'd say, the southeastern half of the state, a line from about Prescott to Pine Bluff up towards about the Helena area. All southeast of there, rainfall still moving through. None of it severe, most of it light, but there are some areas where it's a little bit heavier, like right around Monticello and then up towards Star City there to the southeast of Pine Bluff. El Dorado, Texarkana even getting some rain and a few sprinkles here in the metro, and the streets are still wet. So just kind of treat it like it's raining. Leave early. Don't be in a big hurry because definitely we need to take our time this morning, the ponding on the roadways, even where the rainfall has ended. 71 for a high today. We don't warm up a whole lot off of these morning lows that are now in the 60s. Again, we'll continue to see a few morning showers, southeastern Arkansas, and then tonight, I think the rain is all over for football games, and it turns cooler, too. Coming up, I'll have your weekend forecast. That's in just a moment. Alicia?
All right. Thanks, Melinda. We want to get right to some breaking news this morning. Arkansas State troopers are reporting as many as 6 deaths in a charter bus crash in North Little Rock along Interstate 40 and U.S. Highway 167 interchange. Channel 7's Janelle Lilly is live now in North Little Rock with the very latest. Janelle?
Yeah, good morning, Alicia. I've stepped out of the frame for a little bit so you can see actually what's going on right now. The tow truck company is hooking up this bus in order to move it from the scene. We are really close to where the 430 or the 4030 interchange actually is. They seem to be just hooking up the bus so they can transport it. Now, I will tell you there is a ton of debris on the side of the road right now. The top of this bus just ripped completely from it. I'm going to invite Bridget Williams over with the American Red Cross into right now. So, Bridget, as I understand it, there were several people on the bus. They were traveling. At this point, what is the American Red Cross doing to help them?
People are surprised to find that we're called in on transportation accidents. No different than we would with a disaster, which is to take care of the immediate needs of the passengers. So we have several of the passengers. We will provide them with emergency shelter in a local hotel. We will also make connections, if necessary, from their immediate destination as to connect them to their end destination.
Well, thank you so much, Bridget, for all you guys do. I know they're here every time there is a disaster, and they certainly have been here thus far providing blankets and comfort to those who are in need of it right now. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, let me tell you a little bit about this accident, what I've gathered so far. It seems that this bus, according to the team on the scene right now, was driving towards the North Hill Bridge and actually collided with part of the North Hill Bridge. I have confirmed from State Police at this point that it wasn't a clearance issue. This bus had gone under several bridges before they even hit the North Hill Bridge, but it seems that the driver of the bus actually came closer to the embankment, and as you know, that means that the clearance issue became a reality. Now, the top of this bus just ripped from it, and actually there's debris from about where I'm standing near the 4030 interchange all the way to the North Hill Bridge. It's on both sides of the interstate. It's actually on the embankment over here on the service road. It was thrown quite a ways. Now, I understand so far that 6 people are confirmed dead. It's only 6 at this point, but there are several other victims of this accident. Some of them were taken to UAMS, others were taken to Baptist Health. I understand from a victim here at this scene that he believed that the bus driver was asleep, but that has not been confirmed by any official source at this time. He said to me that he noticed the victim was swerving towards the right side of the road when the driver was swerving to the right side of the road when the accident happened. At this point, that's all we know so far, but I'm working on gathering a little bit more information from the state troopers. Now, several of them, as I mentioned, are still in the hospital, and I have been told that those injuries are very serious, so this death toll could continue to rise. Back to you.
All right, Janelle, thanks for staying on this. We'll get an update from you a little later this morning. The time now is 5:07. Still to come on Daybreak, the new jobs report out this morning, plus the first major shopping frenzy of the season with lines around the block. Those stories next in your America's Money report from ABC.
And while the rain has ended for most of us, southeastern Arkansas still has some showers going on this morning. I'll show them to you live right after this.
From the weather team with the most experience, this is Channel 7 meteorologist Melinda Mayo.
5:10, welcome back. Even though most of the rain is over, I want to really urge caution for your travel this morning because the streets are still wet across much of central Arkansas. Probably the only area that's had a chance to dry out is North Arkansas. And then the rain continues across the southeastern, about a third of the state. And this is going to continue to rain for at least another couple of hours, if not through most of the morning, before we start to see this area of low pressure and frontal boundary finally take the rainfall away. So let's zoom into where it is raining. It's mainly just a few sprinkles left over in most of the metro, talking Little Rock, Hot Springs, Conway, Benton, and Bryant. But like I said, the streets are still just wet and puddles everywhere from ponding on the roadways. But here's where the rain is still coming down, and that is Lincoln County, southeast of Pine Bluff, with the heaviest of the showers, those yellow returns, as well as down all through Drew County and Monticello. And that pocket of heavy rain is going to move over towards Helena and move over towards the Dumas area, eventually maybe even up towards DeWitt there in Arkansas County. So there is still reason to be concerned. Take your time out there. Don't be in a big rush. The good news is, for most of us, the rain is over, and we got through the night without a lot of severe weather. We had some strong winds. We had no tornado warnings, though, even though we had that watch that was issued for the western half of the state roughly last night. We didn't see any spin-ups or anything along that squall line, but we did have a number of power outages. 64 degrees with cloudy skies now, but a little bit of drizzle. South wind at about 5 miles per hour, and temperatures pretty mild out there. We just haven't cooled down overnight because of the clouds, and we won't warm up a whole lot. I'd say about 5 or 6 degrees above these temperatures that we're seeing this morning. But it'll be cloudy through most of the day, especially the southeastern half of the state. And then here's that rainfall becoming a little bit more widely scattered and not as widespread later this morning. But still, there's going to be some showers, I would say, into the early afternoon. By 4 o'clock, there's the heavy rainfall along that line exiting the state. And then look at how the clouds begin to clear for our weekend. How about some sunshine back tomorrow? I think everybody could use some of that. And much cooler forecast on the way as well. Today's high around 71 degrees, so only about 5-6 degrees warmer than it is right now. A few morning showers will linger across southeastern Arkansas. Most of it will be light. It'll get lighter throughout the day, I think. 52 tonight, so if you're going out to football games, it will get cool as that sun goes down quicker than it's cooled the past few nights. There's the weekend, highs in the 60s, only a small rain chance tomorrow for South Arkansas. Okay, 5:13, it's time to switch to business news, and here's ABC.
Good morning. Even before this morning's release of the October jobs report, a warning.
A good report could help the Federal Reserve decide whether to increase rates. That would make it more difficult to afford a house or a car. Stock futures mixed overnight.
Lines worthy of Black Friday at H&M stores around the world, all for a chance to buy affordable clothes and items from high-end designer Pierre Balmain.
I'm so glad I didn't know about this one ahead of time. Shoppers grabbed arms full, most of it already being resold on eBay at steep markups, and I've checked. They are steep markups.
Yeah, so much for it being affordable.
Christmas is coming around, though, my friend.
Yeah.
And tomorrow is Name Your Own Price Day at 7-Eleven.
You can get any flavor and any size Slurpee for whatever you want to pay for it. A penny or $100. Proceeds go to a Feeding America charity.
And that's America's money.
America's Money. Brought to you by United Healthcare.
Forbes magazine just released their list of the top women in music. Katy Perry made the most out of any female musicians this year. Perry raked in $135 million thanks to her Prismatic World Tour and multiple endorsement deals. Taylor Swift came in second place with $80 million, and Fleetwood Mac was third, taking in nearly $60 million. You go, Stevie Nicks. She still got it.
Still got it after all these years and decades. Pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, presidential candidate Hillary Clinton stopped by Jimmy Kimmel for the first time last night. Jimmy and Hillary joked about her husband possibly becoming the first male spouse of a president. Take a listen.
Now, it's a little bit more complicated with him because people still call former presidents Mr. President.
Right.
So I have to really work on this.
The first president lady would be a nice thing to call. The first lady, doesn't the
first dude, first mate, first gentleman. I'm just not sure about it.
Yeah, well, what do you call him?
Yeah, it'll be interesting if they get to the White House. Yeah, I mean, you still call them Mr. President when they're former. Of course, I guess she would be Madam President.
I believe so,
perhaps. Yeah. So that would be at least different
Madam President
names.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that does end up playing out.
Okay, well, let's get to your weather today. It's kind of on the top of everybody's mind this morning after the storms last night. The good news is the rain chances are decreasing. There is still rainfall across about the southeastern third areas from about Pine Bluff south and eastward. Still seeing some showers, but that chance will go down through the day, and we'll see only about 20% later on. Mostly cloudy day, though. I think western and northern Arkansas, you may get a little clearing late today, but the clouds are still out there. Be careful, though. It is still wet. Alicia and I drove in, and she actually drove through that accident scene, so it's a mess out there. So take your time. Still kind of sprinkling. Over the weekend, though, a little bit cooler, but at least the sunshine comes back.
Yeah, always that tricky time out on the roads because it's not raining, and so you think you're good, but you may not be.
Exactly. It's still kind of slick.
All right. Well, coming up in this morning's health check, what women in downtown Little Rock think of the new Little Pink Pill. Stay with us. You're watching Daybreak. There's been a pill for men for years now, helping them bring back excitement into the bedroom. Now there's a pill for women called the Pink Pill, just approved by the FDA in August. Channel 7's Maureen Glisovic looks at how the pill works and if it's safe.
We can desire sex because we want to, not because our partners are telling us to, but because we feel empowered and we want that sexual desire back. And that's a big deal for me, and I know it is for tons of other women with HSDD.
The newest medical breakthrough, recently approved by the Food and Drug Administration, claims to help patients suffering from hypoactive sexual desire disorder by medicating with Addyi, or what's being called the Pink Pill.
It's a drug that they tried to bring it out to market 3 times. It failed twice, and then finally the FDA approved it under much pressure from the consumer groups, and I thought this was the most interesting thing, including one called Settle the Score, which was partly funded by the drug company that made the drug.
Dr. Richard Wyatt, an OBGYN doctor for Baptist Health, will have to train and read through this before prescribing Addyi.
It's very complicated for women. It's, for men, it's do you have the right hormones? Are you breathing? Do you have blood flow to the right part of the body? And that's all that Viagra does.
Dr. Wyatt says the myth is Viagra would work in women, but in reality it's much more complex, as women tend to worry in a greater sense about jobs, husbands, kids, work, and school.
Addyi's more of it works on what are called neurotransmitters. So it's more like an antidepressant in that it kind of balances the mix of neurotransmitters to potentially increase desire.
Addyi is not instantaneous, such as Viagra. It's a pill you take orally once a day, but Dr. Wyatt says this drug comes with a black box warning.
Severe hypotension and dizziness. Hypotension means lowered blood pressure. And it is significantly worse if you drink alcohol.
Significantly enough for the company to require patients to sign this form, agreeing that they understand the risk and promise not to drink alcohol while on Addyi. To break it down, here are the facts. It's a pill you take daily. Dr. Wyatt says it will only increase a woman's libido on average 1 time per month. And you can't drink alcohol.
Number one, is insurance going to pay for it? It's going to be expensive because it's a new drug. It's probably going to be $400 or $500 a month. And is one extra sexual encounter a month going to be worth it?
Do you think it's worth it? Channel 7 hits the streets to find out.
No. I know a lot of women that need alcohol daily, like I'm one of those women. So no, I would definitely not want to do that.
You know, men, they can drink and take Viagra and then, okay, good to go. So I don't think it's very fair. So hopefully something can change with that. I don't know.
Is it worth it?
No.
Tell me why you don't think it's worth it.
Because I don't think it's worth it if it restricts you on doing other things.
Their predicament might have to be really devastating for them to feel the need for that, but I know for me, I like wine, so I would definitely want to continue to have wine with dinner. That kind of goes hand in hand if you're on a date.
Women that need help in that area want it for far more than one more time a month. It's putting another chemical in your body at a great deal of expense, I'm sure. I just don't think it's probably going to be that big a game changer for women in general.
I don't know what the outcome would be if you drank alcohol. So I would not want to take the pill.
No, every day, and then I have to give up my alcohol back to the alcohol. No, I don't like this one.
Maureen Glisovic, Channel 7 News.
One other thing health experts say, since this drug is so new, they still don't know what the long-term side effects could be. Well, coming up after the break, what song this little boy is playing on his cello and why his costume matches perfectly. Next, and This Really Happened.
All right, welcome back, everybody. You should take a look at radar. The rainfall over for most of us. Still a few little sprinkle areas, though, in the metro, and then rain in about the southeastern third. I just checked in with Entergy, about 1,900 still without power in the state, 1,200 of those in Pulaski County, and most of those up around Jacksonville.
All right. Well, we didn't have any power go out last night. Did you guys?
We did not. Yeah, so fortunate. But some folks don't have it this morning.
Yeah, unfortunate for them. Well, we want to get to This Really Happened. A little laugh for your morning. No Mozart for this tiny cello player. You can see 7-year-old Ryan is a big Star Wars fan. He learned to play the Imperial March on his cello. How cute. Well, instead of wearing a tux like most do for recitals, Ryan fully committed to the performance, dressing up as Darth Vader. Cute.
I love that.
Yeah, Ryan's a cello student at the Suzuki School of Newton in Florida.
I bet that little guy's going to be first in line to go see the movie.
I bet
right?
So. He needs to bring his cello and give the audience waiting a performance.
Good for him. Yeah, very talented and cute, too.
He is. All right, well, we're going to stick with Star Wars coming up after the break. How a longtime Star Wars fan wanted to spend his final days and how his last wish was granted.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome into our KATV kickoff presented by Reliance Bank, our final high school KATV kickoff of the season. We are live in Garland County this morning.
Tonight it's going to be a huge game here tonight. You can already see, look at this crowd behind us. It's fantastic. We love hearing the band this early. So a lot from Hot Springs High School coming up throughout the morning for our KATV kickoff pep rally, sponsored by Reliance Bank.
We're going to get to all of that. We're going to talk with coaches. We're going to talk with, of course, some of the students that are here getting ready for this game tonight. And, of course, we're going to talk with R.J. Hawk of 183.7 The Bus, who's going to be calling tonight's game between Lakeside and Hot Springs High. And this is a game that not only has implications on the field, but both these squads and both these schools going with some conflict off the field as well. Of course, Lakeside in a bus accident a couple weeks ago, and just overnight, a football player, a senior here, injured in a car accident. We did talk with the athletic director who got the text this morning. He said right now he knows that he has a few cuts and bruises, but he's looking like he's going to be okay. But, of course, that status is still up in the air. We'll keep you updated throughout the morning. And now we're going to send it back into studio with a check of your headlines with Alicia. Hey, Alicia.
All right. Thanks, guys. We want to get right to what's happening now in your news on Daybreak. The 911 calls from Judge Wade Naramore are released in the case of his toddler son who died in a hot car this summer. What the special prosecutor says about the call's release. Plus, Mike Huckabee is dropped from next week's primetime debate. Why Fox Business bumped the former Arkansas governor to the lower debate.
And a quick check of your weather right now. Most of the rainfall is over for most of us, but southeast Arkansas still dealing with some patches of light rain, a little bit moderate in a couple spots too. Now in the metro, there are still some areas of drizzle, some sprinkles, even Hot Springs where our crew is there. A couple of showers that just ended and rotated through, but most of it is from Pine Bluff south and eastward all the way down to El Dorado, even back towards Texarkana. Nothing severe, not expecting this to get any heavier. But that moderate rainfall now moving from Drew County on up into Deshay, Phillips County. It's going to head on up towards about the West Memphis area before it leaves the state. We will see clearing through the day, and I think this rain in southeast Arkansas lasts through most of the morning and maybe even into the early afternoon, but it will become lighter. A high today around 71 degrees. Leave early, though, because the streets are still wet from all that rainfall overnight. 52 degrees, mostly cloudy, and tonight at football games or whatever you're doing, it will turn a little bit cooler. I've got your weekend forecast coming up in just a moment. Alicia?
All right. Thanks, Melinda. We want to get right to some breaking news this morning. Arkansas state troopers are reporting as many as 6 deaths in a charter bus crash in North Little Rock along Interstate 40 and U.S. Highway 167 interchange. Channel 7's Janelle Lilly is live now in North Little Rock with the very latest. Janelle?
Yeah, good morning, Alicia. We have an update from the last time you and I spoke. I have confirmed that 8 people have been taken to local hotels by the Red Cross. 6 others were transported to the hospital, 3 to UAMS, 3 to Baptist Health. 2 of those people at UAMS have now been discharged. The 3rd person is in fair condition. There are also 6 other people who have died in this accident. 3 of them were found dead in the bus crash, which was behind me moments ago. The other 3, tragically, their bodies were actually strewn across the interstate. That's why several lanes of traffic were blocked for a while. This accident happened about 1:30 a.m. and it was only cleaned up fully about 15 minutes ago. The tow truck has been on the scene already. They were able to remove the rest of the charter bus. That bus was traveling from Michigan to Texas, from what I now understand. It was carrying migrant workers. They were on their way to a job in Texas, or on their way home from a job in Michigan. They were headed back to Texas at the time. The state police have just now confirmed that to me as well. We're still learning a little bit more about this. Actually, the state police can't give me a firm number on just how many people were on at the bus so far. My count is 21 at this point, but they say they can't say that officially. From what we understand happened so far, the bus had no clearance problem. It wasn't too tall to be traveling in an interstate, but it seems the driver somehow managed to drive up on the embankment close to the North Hills Bridge. Now, that made the clearance a little bit less, and it canned the bus. Just imagine opening up a soup can, the top of it just ripping off. And that happened over on the North Hill Bridge. And from the North Hill Bridge to about where I'm standing right now, debris was just strewn across the interstate, even over into the service road right now. I-40 westbound was just filled with it. They have cleaned it all up at this point, so commuters coming into the Little Rock City right now won't have any issues this morning. That's all we know right now, but we are hoping to learn a little bit more information about the company that was carrying these workers. We understand they are based out of Florida. The bus was a Continental charter bus based out of Florida at this time, but what kind of relationship they all had to one another and where exactly the bus driver was from or how this all happened, we're still learning details. Back to you.
All right. Thanks, Janelle, for staying on this, and we'll check back in with you a little later this morning. The 911 call Judge Wade Naramore made when he found his son inside a hot car last summer has now been released. A Garland County judge ruling Thursday that the emergency call should be released under the Freedom of Information Act. In the calls, an audible, upset Judge Naramore can be heard saying, quote, "My son was left in the car. I think he's dead." 18-month-old Thomas Naramore died back in July after allegedly being left in a hot car. The 911 call was released after blogger and attorney Matt Campbell sued the Hot Springs Police Department for the call to be made public information.
Nothing to do with who it was that made the calls. It was the fact that these records should be treated just like any other 911 calls would be, and they weren't being.
Special Prosecutor Scott Ellington says he does not think the release of the calls will affect the investigation. He continues to weigh possible charges for Judge Wade Naramore. Former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee has failed to qualify for the third primetime Republican presidential debate. Huckabee and New Jersey Governor Chris Christie were both bumped from the main debate stage. The candidates failed to meet Fox Business's condition of averaging at least 2.5% in the four most recent national polls. Christie and Huckabee will be joined by Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal and former Pennsylvania Senator Rick Santorum for the undercard debate. The next Republican debate is set for Tuesday. A terminally ill Star Wars fan had his last wish granted. Texas man Daniel Fleetwood is suffering from a rare form of cancer and was only given 2 months to live back in July and is expecting to die any day now. Daniel, who has been a fan of Star Wars since he was 8 years old, is currently at home on hospice care with his wife. A plea to Lucasfilms was heard, and Daniel's wife posted on Facebook this week a private screening was set up and they were able to see an unfinished cut of the film. Very neat. Coming up in sports, plenty of Thursday night touchdowns and Thursday night hoops, the exhibition opener for the Razorback basketball team.
And plenty of Thursday night rain, but this Friday morning, it's mainly down in southeastern Arkansas. Coming up, I'll tell you when that ends, plus the forecast for Friday night football and your weekend. It's going to be a little different. We'll talk about that in a moment.
From the weather team with the most experience, this is Channel 7 meteorologist Melinda Mayo.
Well, a lot of folks went to football games in the rain last night. It didn't affect a lot of them because we didn't have a lot of lightning, but it did stop the game McClellan at Jacksonville because of a power outage. So they're going to have to finish that game tonight there in Jacksonville. It was tied 6-6 when they called the game. I think the weather will be much better for Friday night football games. Let's check out our radar right now, and please leave a little bit early. Central Arkansas, it has really just ended raining, and it is still sprinkling in a few spots in the metro. So take your time. The streets are still wet. Almost treat it like it is still raining because the streets are pretty much in the same kind of shape. Southeast Arkansas, even a little bit worse for you with areas of rain, and some of it moderate at times, moving through Drew County, now on up towards the Deshay County area around Dumas, on up towards Stuttgart and DeWitt, and that's going to continue up towards Helena. So a little bit more moderate rain. I don't expect anything to be severe, and we really kind of lucked out as far as the severe weather went last night. Tornado warnings in Texas, possibly even a touchdown around Fort Worth, but they weakened as they moved in, and the timing really helped us because the sun had set. We were losing the heat of the day, so it just wasn't quite as unstable. But we did have some gusty winds and a number of power outages. In fact, almost 2,000 still without power this morning around the state, most of that in Pulaski County and around Jacksonville. 64 degrees now, cloudy skies. Expect the mostly cloudy skies to continue. The only area I think might get a little clearing is up here in northwest Arkansas. 60s and highs in the low 70s today, so we are going to see those temperatures warming up slowly, but only about 5 or 6 degrees or so. We'll have your football forecast coming up in just a little bit. I think it will definitely be a little cooler tonight as the sun sets, so you might want to take a jacket to some of those football games tonight. Here's that rainfall. Notice how it becomes lighter in southeast Arkansas. The clouds still lingering, though, across the southeast half. So mostly cloudy today. We'll get some sunshine over the weekend. Just got to kind of get through this cloudy Friday. And even tonight, I think we'll start to see some clearing. Cooler weather moves in for our weekend with highs only in the 60s. But today we'll go up to about 71. Again, just a few morning showers lingering across about the southeastern third of the state. Pine Bluff southward and eastward is pretty much where the rain is. 52 tonight, a little bit chillier in the morning, but that's nothing compared to where we'll be Sunday morning. Highs only in the 60s over the weekend. Morning lows in the 30s in northern Arkansas and 40s here in South Arkansas. Next week, it looks like our next rain chance is on Wednesday. We'll keep an eye on that because you know what? That's Veterans Day, and we'll have a lot of outdoor ceremonies, so we'll watch that for you next week. Okay, time to check on sports. Here's Steve Sullivan.
From the Arkansas Select Buick GMC Sports Desk, here's Steve Sullivan.
Good morning, everyone. And how about those Red Wolves? Last night in Boone, North Carolina, they loaded up and delivered the second half knockout. ASU bowl eligible again, a perfect 5-0 in Sun Belt play. Let's pick up the highlights. ASU down 7-0. Love Freddie Knight. Beautiful play fake here. Back in the end zone, it's Trez Houston. We're tied at 7. Big first half for App State quarterback Taylor Lamb. The play fake, his tight end is wide open. Advantage Mountaineers 14-7. This was huge. Xavier Woodson Luster. There goes the ball. Chris Stone, textbook scoop and score action. They were tied at 14. ASU was down 21-17 at the break. I love it. Rocky Hayes sporting the championship belt after making an interception. All ASU in the third quarter. Up 3. Michael Gordon, and he is gone.